Fratelli Tutti, Encyclical letter of Pope Francis, chapter 3 following, Open societies that integrate everyone, number 97. Some peripheries are close to us, in city centers or within our families. Hence, there is an aspect of universal openness in love that is existential rather than geographical. It has to do with our daily efforts to expand our circle of friends to reach those who, even though they are close to me, I do not naturally consider a part of my circle of interests. Every brother or sister in need, when abandoned or ignored by the society in which I live, becomes an existential foreigner, even though born in the same country. They may be citizens with full rights, yet they are treated like foreigners in their own country. Racism is a virus that quickly mutates and instead of disappearing, goes into hiding and lurks in waiting. I would like to mention some of those hidden exiles who are treated as foreign bodies in society. Many persons with disabilities feel that they exist without belonging and without participating. Much still prevents them from being fully enfranchised. Our concern should be not only to care for them, but to ensure their active participation in the civil and ecclesial community. That is a demanding and even time process, yet one that will gradually contribute to the formation of consciences capable of acknowledging each individual as a unique and unrepeatable person. I think too of the elderly who also, due to their disability, are sometimes considered a burden. Yet, each of them is able to offer a unique contribution to the common good through their remarkable life stories. Let me repeat, we need to have the courage to give a choice to those who are discriminated against due to their disability, because sadly, in some countries even today, people find it hard to acknowledge them as persons of equal dignity. Inadequate understandings of universal love. A love capable of transcending borders is the basis of what in every city and country can be called social friendship. Genuine social friendship within a society makes a true universal openness possible. Makes true universal openness possible. This is a far cry from the false universalism of those who constantly travel abroad because they can't tolerate or love their own people. Those who look down on their own people tend to create within society categories of first and second class, people of greater or lesser dignity, people enjoying greater or fewer rights. In this way, they deny that there is room for everybody. I am certainly not proposing an authoritarian and abstract universalism devised or planned by a small group and presented as an ideal for the sake of leveling, dominating, and plundering. One model of globalization, in fact, consciously aims at a one-dimensional uniformity and seeks to eliminate all differences and traditions in a superficial quest for unity. If a certain kind of globalization claims to make everyone uniform, to level everyone out, that globalization destroys the rich gifts and uniqueness of each person and each people. This false universalism ends up depriving the world of its various colors, its beauty, and ultimately its humanity. For the future is not monochrome. If we are courageous, we can contemplate it in all the variety and diversity of what each individual person has to offer. How much our human family needs to learn to live together in harmony and peace without all of us having to be the same. Beyond a world of associates, let us now return to the parable of the Good Samaritan, for it still has much to say to us. An injured man lay on the roadside. The people walking by him did not heed their entire summons to act as neighbors. They were concerned with their duties, their social status, their professional position within society. They considered themselves important for the society of the time and were anxious to play their proper part. The man on the roadside, bruised and abandoned, was a distraction, an interruption from all that. In any event, he was hardly important. He was a nobody, undistinguished, irrelevant to their plans for the future. The Good Samaritan transcended these narrow classifications. He himself did not fit into any of those categories. He was simply a foreigner, without a place in society. Free of every label and position, he was able to interrupt his journey, change his plans, and unexpectedly come to the aid of an injured person who needed his help. What would be the reaction to that same story nowadays in a world that constantly witnesses the emergence and growth of social groups clinging to an identity that separates them from others? How would it affect those who organize themselves in a way that prevents any foreign presence that might threaten their identity and their closed and self-referential structures? There, even the possibility of acting as a neighbor is excluded. One is a neighbor only to those who serve their purpose. The word neighbor loses all meaning. There can only be associate partners in the pursuit of particular interests. This was a quote from Paul Ricoeur, or this was inspired by Paul Ricoeur, Le Socius et le Prochain, end of note. Liberty, equality, and fraternity. Fraternity is born not only of a climate of respect for individual liberties, or even of a certain administratively guaranteed equality. Fraternity necessarily calls for something greater, which in turn enhances freedom and equality. What happens when fraternity is not consciously cultivated, when there is a lack of political will to promote it through education in fraternity, through dialogue, and through the recognition of the values of reciprocity and mutual enrichment? Liberty becomes nothing more than a condition for living as we will, completely free to choose to whom or what we will belong, or simply to possess or exploit. This shallow understanding has little to do with the richness of a liberty directed above all to love. Nor is equality achieved by an abstract proclamation that all men and women are equal. Instead, it is the result of the conscious and careful cultivation of fraternity. Those capable only of being associates create closed worlds. Within that framework, what place is there for those who are not part of one's group of associates, yet long for a better life for themselves and their families? Individualism does not make us more free, more equal, more fraternal. The mere sum of individual interest is not capable of generating a better world for the whole human family. Nor can it save us from the many ills that are now increasingly globalized. Radical individualism is a virus that is extremely difficult to eliminate, for it is clever. It makes us believe that everything consists in giving free rein to our own ambitions, as by pursuing ever greater ambitions and creating safety nets, we would somehow be serving the common good.